All right.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to another episode of the Sweat the Bet podcast brought to you by OddsJam.com. OddsJam.com. If you are not using this for sports betting, I'm not sure what you're doing. You are leaving profit on the table. You are probably spending way too much time doing a lot of manual labor when you can have software basically do the heavy lifting for you. So, what is OddsJam.com? OddsJam is a sports bettor's best friend. We have powerful tools that are going to find you positive EV betting opportunities. Those are the types of bets where you're probably going to get the best value. It's going to set you up to really narrow down your betting choices to help you be set up to be profitable in the long run. So these are things that like the sharps that you see on media doing, these cappers, they're already, why follow a third party when you can basically just have the software do what they're doing, but you're going to get the info faster. You're going to get it directly to your inbox. You can see it on a dashboard. You can basically track your bets with a very convenient bet tracker. Basically, these are the tools you need, and OddsJam will do the heavy lifting for you. So go check it out after this podcast, oddsjam.com. Sign up for the newsletter, or the email at least, and get a few free bets a day. Just give it a try. Give it a test run. I'm one of your hosts of the Sweat the Bet podcast, Andrew Kim, aka the Parlay Doc on Twitter. This is Matt Modi. What is up, Matt? How's it going?
It's going well. A bunch of rumors going on in the NBA. I'm just waiting for stuff to start to pop off. I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
What time does the draft officially start? Is it an hour, or
It's
when does
7
it kick off?
Eastern. Yeah,
7
7
Eastern.
Eastern.
Okay. So in about an hour. So we got time to even talk about that. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's actually a question I had for you. Is if you're a big draft guy or not.
Not like a huge one. Just I think it just there's a kind of this natural progression of like I don't watch a ton of college basketball minus when it gets closer to March Madness, then I'll study up and read up just so I can partake in all the degeneracy and so and then once March Madness is over, my interest kind of tails off again and go back to NBA and other professional sports. But I actually have for at the end of our segment today, I have for our best bet segment, I do have a degenerate long shot prop for a draft prop. So I do actually, even though I'm not a huge draft guy, this was more coming from a group chat that I'm in, and I thought I'd share a few comments about something I'm going to sprinkle on a total long shot, but we'll get there later today in the best bet section. So even though I'm not a huge draft guy, it doesn't stop me from betting on it. So
I like it. No, I'm not as into it as I used to be because I just don't have as much time. Like I used to just be obsessed with the draft. Absolutely love it. But yeah, I don't quite have the time like I used to. But I still, I can't bet on it in Virginia, which is annoying. Colorado, I know you can.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you can in your state, in Illinois, but
Virginia, we can. That's weird.
Yeah, so I can't actually lock anything in. I do have some best bets as well. But yeah, it's weird. I don't know what the rules are because I was in Colorado last year and I was able to bet on it. But yeah, Virginia doesn't let you.
Gotcha. So look, what we're going to talk about today, guys, I know the NBA season just wrapped up and that's kind of been the core of what Matt and I have been talking about here, but the NBA talks don't stop when the offseason rolls around. So basically today, what we're going to talk about, Matt and I, we're going to kind of exchange and talk about some of our, predictions or hot takes, for lack of a better term, comments about what we're expecting in this offseason into the next season. So it's going to cover a whole range of things, from like who we're going to be predicting, it might do well next season, how teams should retool, what trades may or may not happen. And basically we're going to just kind of dive into some of these off-season talks, because why not? Let's dive right into that. And then once we get through that, we'll still wrap up with our best bets like usual. For those of you who tune in typically just to see what we're betting on, we still have that segment and we'll still be going over bets bet at the end of the show. So hang in there. We will be getting on to some degeneracy at the end. So to kick it off, we're going to start off with our traditional sweat or no sweat segment. So I know this one's going to sound a little weird and it sounds like a no duh obvious kind of statement, but it's strange to me.
I like it.
It's strange to me that this like obvious no brainer, in my opinion, maybe you'll feel different, but an obvious no brainer still is a hot topic of controversy, and it gets people so worked up, where to me it's an easy obvious answer and statement. So my sweat or no sweat statement for you, Matt, is Steph Curry is a great NBA player. And as simple as that sounds, this still remains an active discussion
What?
amongst the NBA. Oh, come on. You dude, go on social media, go on any platform. I know social media is not your best source of info, but I'm just saying your average casual fan, right? On TikTok, on whatever, Instagram live, on Twitter, there's still this active discussion about Steph didn't earn any of those rings. He needed KD. He played, this year was a weak a weak road to victory. Like all these teams, like there was no LeBron there. The Clippers were hampered with injury. They had no Kawhi. Like they almost dismiss the achievements. So in my mind, I told you, it's obvious to me he's a great. I'm just curious. Are you one of those fringe controversial fans that don't think Steph Curry is, and I use the word specifically, not good, but great, a great NBA player?
See, to me, I feel like that argument is less, is Steph Curry great, but is Steph Curry like, is he historically one of the best of all time? I think to me that is more where the argument is. I haven't seen as much as, is he great? I've seen, is he like top 10 all time? Is he the best point guard over Magic? I've seen stuff like that. So that, I mean, he's awesome. That is
so.
Absolutely.
How about this? Is he a top? Let me make it even easier. I'm not going to, because we can get into the weeds with top 5. And how do you even compare like a guard like Jordan versus Will Chamberlain? So how about, is in your mind, and I'll go to 2 levels. We'll start with this. Is he a top 100 player of all time?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. 100%.
Okay. So now this will get a little trickier in my mind. Is he a top 50 of all time?
See, I mean, I'm not like a basketball historian. Like I don't pretend to be like a Bill Simmons, but
sure. Let's do this. So, because I'm 40. So you're
30.
So, okay. So let's say 19. Okay. So let's do this from 1970s till now. So let's forget, like, cause I'm not going to know who the hell, some of these guys in the 60s. So So let's say late 70s, early 80s till now. Is he a top 25 in that era? 1980s till now, top 25 in that.
I think he is. I mean, like, again, different eras, but he's literally the best shooter of all time. Like,
that's true.
Like he's best off the catch. He's best off the dribble. He's best on the move. He's best like pull, like any type of shot, you name it. He's the best at. And he's like, I feel like he's underrated how good his handle is, because everybody just talks about the shot. Sure. And also underrated how good his finishing is at the rim, because he's like not that athletic. He's 6'3", so he's not that tall either. But he's still, because he's so shifty and because everybody's just horrified of the jump shot, he's able to get into the lane pretty easily. You saw this in the finals. Like he just dances a little bit, like always at his own pace, and then just like gets. I'm thinking of one specific play with Horford. Gets him to step one way out of the way, and then he just drives in the lane for an eat bucket. So, I mean, to me, I haven't really seen the "is he great" conversation. I've more seen the like how historically great is he is more what I've seen, and I'm pro Steph all the way. I'm 100% pro Steph.
Oh yeah, I like. It's hard to not like Steph in my opinion. So before we end and move on to yours, let's make it hard now. So 1980s till now, top 5. And I know that's hard, right? Because now you're bringing in the Jordans and the Kobes and the so. Would you say top 5? Would you crack them in your top 5 of 1980s till now?
I probably wouldn't. Because MJ and LeBron are going to be up there.
Sure,
I feel like you got to put Shaq and Kobe in there.
Sure.
So basically, like,
you're fighting for that last position, huh?
Yeah. Is he above? Like, I still don't think he's better than Kevin Durant. So I would put Kevin Durant above him. So no, I don't think he's top 5 since that range. I think, but I mean, is he 6? Like, maybe. I can't think of like.
So you can argue top 10 in this era, but maybe not top 5.
You could argue it. Yeah, I would need to think more of like the players in the 90s that like the players I'm not thinking of, like like Ewing and Charles Barkley and Akeem Olajuwon.
The Malone, Stockton, all those,
exactly. But without doing that much research, I'd say top 10 is probably a good starting place to have the argument.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. So what do you got for me? Matt?
Mine is, I think I've talked about this a lot, about the specific team and a lot of my sweat or no sweat. The Jazz miss the playoffs next season. Just totally miss it. Don't even make the playoffs.
just totally miss it. Okay.
And this includes making the play-in, but not making. It's basically they are not in the final 8. I should say
they're not in the final 8. Okay, so they can make the play-in. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Let me clarify.
All right. So let me just quickly off the top of my head. You got the Warriors, obviously. I'm going to see. Of course, they're going to make. They got the Clippers, the Grizz. Who else is at the top there? Why am I blanking?
Mavericks.
Nuggets, Mavericks,
Nuggets. Yeah.
Then you're going to argue
the Suns,
of course. Okay,
so yeah,
so you're really talking about those last 2 positions, huh? So then you're really talking about
the Pelicans.
Are the Blazers going to rebuild? Pelicans,
the Timberwolves,
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'd say so. You're saying they'll miss the top 8. Oh man, Oh yeah, I could say no sweat. Yeah, that's really.
I like it.
That's a weird statement, but I would never have thought we'd come to this place with the Jazz. With their core.
I kind of did, but
yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, not this bad. Not this bad. I should say. I never thought
this. Yeah, but I could because you just off the top with who knows what happens tonight off season, but like as is knowing who the cores are going in. Like things are up for the Pels, you know what I mean?
The Pelicans, the Grizzlies, the Timberwolves, like
the Timberwolves, the Grizz, yeah. So I mean, and those are who are going to be vying for those like last 4 positions. It's going to be tough. And then, yeah, I don't know about the Blazers. We're going to get to I'm going to mention the Blazers at one point, so I won't dive into it much. But yeah, they've made some moves with Jeremy Grant. They're trying to apparently try to go for OG from the Raptors. So. I don't know if that's enough really to vault past the Jazz, but the Jazz, I don't know what they're doing. So, I mean, even that tandem that I just listed could be a problem for the Jazz. So, yeah, there's a valid case. I don't think that's like even a hot take. I think there's a valid case that if they're blowing up things, who knows will they be in shambles, or is Donovan Mitchell going to be enough if he ends up staying, right? So,
yeah, is he even going to be like, they have a new head coach. Which whatever. Good teams have new head coaches. Like Steve Kerr won the title his first year, so like that's not really that big of a deal. But like they're going to trade Royce O'Neal. They already traded Joe Ingles. The big deal, the bearing the lead is what's going to happen with Gobert and what's going to happen with Donovan Mitchell. And I think at a minimum Mitchell gets traded. I think that's one of mine as well, is regarding something about Donovan Mitchell and also about Rudy Gobert. I don't know if they trade both, but I'm kind of like, what's the point of keeping one? You know what I mean? Like you might as well just go for it, because if you keep one, I guess it depends on the haul, of course, like everything depends on who you get back, but like really what's the point? What's the point of like just being mediocre, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I feel you.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've always hated the Jazz. I think they're just a total and utter joke. But yeah, now I think they've always been a good regular season team. So now I don't even think that'll happen.
Gotcha. No, I could see that happening. I could even see that being a struggle in the regular season, just trying to grind out wins. Basically, that could be hard to come by. So
exactly. Yeah.
All right. So let's move on to the main segment of today's first kind of segment, I guess, of off-season talk. So, today what we're going to do, we're going to kind of go back and forth. We each prepared about, 3 different segments of topics we're going to talk about and just kind of comment on each other's after we give our little spiel. So I'll kick it off, I guess. I'll say, so, obviously trade talks are kind of the buzz right now. Who's going where? Rumors. It's fun. I mean, people love it's like hope, right? We all want to have hope when our teams suck or have had a disappointing end to the season. Our minds just go crazy just thinking of scenarios like, how can our team get better? And things that don't even make sense, from cap space, trades. Like, we don't even care. We get so hopeful, and sometimes it gets shattered even before the season begins if these trades don't happen. But
yeah.
So my first, I guess, comment or kind of take will be, I want to talk about Bradley Beal, right? And
he's on mine as well.
So my commentary is this: is if in the right scenario and going to the right team, Bradley Beal can be a true impact player to take a team to the next level if it's the right fit. Okay, so I
totally agree. 100%.
Not just empty stats, not just stat stuffing to make his box score look good, but if he goes to the right fit, he can actually be a huge impact player to take that team to the next level. And not to just be vague, I came up with a couple scenarios, not to say that these are the best fits, but these were fits that I could see. And so I'm not even sitting here because I'm not one of those. I just don't have the time and energy to work out cap space and doing the trade machine crap. Like,
sure.
I'm just saying, theoretically, if somehow you could finagle it, and these are 3 teams I came up with, the Boston Celtics, and there seems to be a connection there. There seems to be a connection where, I don't know, Tatum and him, they have a history. They're buddies.
St. Louis.
Yep. They were going to play together at the Olympics, and then what COVID, all the positive COVID results, and it screwed. I mean, all these things. But even Beal's agent was commenting he wants to be on a contender. There were some rumors saying, like, he didn't say it himself, but people are speaking on Beal's behalf, saying the Boston Celtics would be a desired landing spot. So if he goes to the Celtics, right, can he be that missing piece? Because we saw what happened. Like, the Celtics defense is legit. I mean, it's like a juggernaut, right? So if they can maintain and sustain that level, can you then take them to the next level? And will that be the difference to get them to win the actual championship, right? Like, the scoring is what was difficult to sustain scoring. Like, Jaylen Brown was pretty damn consistent over the postseason, but there were times where if he faltered and Tatum was getting double, triple, there wasn't a consistent person to step up. You got flashes from rejuvenated Al Horford once in a while. You would get a big game from Smart, but it wasn't enough. Like, they need some kind of legit pure scorer, and maybe they're a fit because if you can make the right moves and make the money and stuff work, like, can you make up for some of his defensive deficiencies? And that's the team that can do that with team defense, and just have him score. Just help out Tatum, help out Brown. The questions that come to mind would be, would that displace Jaylen Brown's role? Would that make him discontent? All that stuff. Who knows? That was one fit, you know. The second 2, I'll be quicker on these, is would he be a fit on the Heat and give Jimmy that missing piece of a scorer? You know, and you know, like you've said it before, Miami's willing to make these big moves, right? These splashy kind of offseason. So can he be a fit in the Miami Heat system and just score and let Jimmy and Bam do all the dirty work? And the final one is, could he be the missing piece for the Memphis Grizzlies and take some of that pressure off of Ja, where the plan of betting on Dylan Brooks to step up just is not working anymore in the postseason. Do they need that pure score? So those were some of the scenarios I came up with. Could he be a fit on some of these true contenders? And can he be more than just a stat stuffer? And can he actually be an impactful piece that will take a team to the next level in a scenario like one of those?
I'll comment part by part. To answer that very first question, absolutely. I think Brad Beal is awesome. My only worry with him was I got James Harden vibes from him this past season, where like he just looked like he dropped off a cliff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my concern is that he's just toast. Like, I think James Harden's toast. The concern is that he's toast. But it was a weird year like that. I mean, he has balled out for some god awful Washington Wizards teams, but it was just a weird year. He was like unvaccinated, and there was like a bunch of like stuff with that. And then he like was had that wrist injury the entire year, and then eventually just said screw it and got surgery. But we're like 1 year removed from him averaging 30 points per game. Like, I'm pretty sure if he was not number 1, he was top 3 in scoring the previous season.
He was, I think, top 2. Yeah, he was one of the top.
I think Steph was 1 and he was 2. I think
he might have been 2, I think,
from my memory. But like, I mean, even in the playoff series when they got like absolutely just blasted by the Sixers, like, he was awesome. Like, he is just unstoppable to score when he's going. But yeah, I mean, I'm concerned about like him just dropping off the map. But I also feel like, and this is a long time ago, but I remember those when the Wizards were actually good with John Wall. Like, Brad Beal was just a stone cold killer in those playoff series. Like when they took the Celtics to 7, I think I know they beat the Hawks one year. I can't remember. Like, it's all jumbled together. I'm not a Wizards fan, so I don't remember. But I just remember he was a stone cold killer in those playoffs. Those couple runs they had. So regarding the 3 teams, sneak preview, I have something with him in the Heat on one of mine. So
okay. So we'll save it for that. Okay,
I totally agree with you there. I never would have thought of the Grizzlies, but that's a good point because like they're just riddled with young talent, but outside of Ja, they don't have like that running mate. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, to win a championship, you generally need 2, unless I don't know what you want to call the Warriors one, but they had like 4. But yeah, you generally need like 2, and like Baines flashed in the playoffs, but then he had that back injury, and then Jaren Jackson Jr. has kind of been disappointing ever since he got hurt. He came back from, I think it was torn meniscus. He's been really disappointing. Like, his shot has just totally failed him, and he can't like just stay on the court because he always fouls. You know, like that was like the whole can't keep your hands to yourself with him and Cat just like racking up fouls.
Yeah.
And then the last to comment on your first team, the Celtics last, I would wonder, like, again, I'm with you. I didn't go through like the trade scenarios and stuff, but I don't think there's a scenario in which they could keep Marcus Smart because you just have to make the salaries match.
Yeah, I doubt that. Yeah.
So I think that's my concern, and like he would be super helpful in those like crunch time moments when the Celtics offense just got stuck in quicksand. But my biggest thing for the Celtics is they need like a true point guard. Like they had nobody to just run the offense for them. And as good as Beal is, he's not a true point guard. He's a shooting guard. So I just think that, I mean, he's a much better scorer than anybody else that they have. But I think they would run into the same issues where their offense would just look so clunky and like nobody would know what to do. And it basically just turns into like, you go cook, you go cook, you go cook. You know what I mean? Which I think is tough to rely on. I mean, Brad Beal can do that, but I think that's tough.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, overall, Brad Beal is one of mine. I know a report came out that he was going to opt out and then become an unrestricted free agent. And then he commented on Twitter, he tweeted like, wait, what? LOL, like basically saying that wasn't true. So who knows what's going to happen with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I'm with you. Like the Brad Beal stakes is one of the bigger ones of this offseason for sure.
Yeah, no, and to one of your comments, like I like Brad Beal. I think he's exciting. He's a good player. I just like you said, hopefully he doesn't go the route of like a John Wall and just have this
exactly. That was he's clearly a different player last year. So you wonder if that's just like he's just done with being on a loser team for so long. But yeah, I don't know. That's my biggest concern.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go one of mine since, and I'll stick on the Brad Beal topic and also the Heat topic, like you mentioned. So I think my hot take is that the Heat trade for one of Donovan Mitchell or Bradley Beal. Well, I think it's going to be one of the two. I think they don't care as much about defense because they have Butler, Bam, Lowry, the Heat culture. So I feel like they know that they have a limited window with Lowry and less so Jimmy Butler, but I don't necessarily think Jimmy's going to age that well because he's got some Tibbs legs on him.
That's a good point.
From those Bulls and Timberwolves year. And he's also like, he's never had a bad injury, but he's always kind of banged up, you know? So I think they know that they have a limited ceiling and that they need to make a splash and that as currently constructed, they just don't have enough offense. And I can't imagine a better fit for either Mitchell or Beal than the Heat. So I think, and like I said, the Heat always make a splash. Pat Riley always have something up his sleeve. So that's my hot take for the Heat is I think that they end up with one of Mitchell or Beal.
Yeah, I like that. And I think I almost feel like it's a necessity, right? I think they're going to have to.
They can't go back. They can't just run it back.
No, they can't run it back. You're right. They can't run it back. And I think it would be a mistake if they went the route of like, let's cost save and let's get a middling above average scorer and just try to piece it together, with gum and tape. And like, I think you just got to go for a legit scoring threat. Like this is your job. We're bringing you to basically just get us buckets basically.
Yeah. And that's just like, that's not the Heat. That's not what they do. Like skimp out and go with like you said, the patch it with Band-Aids and gum and Band-Aids and stuff. That's just like that's not how they roll.
Yeah, I'm sitting here debating if both were available and you could make it work with the money and the moves and who would I take if I were like GM? And I'm just sitting here. I'm like,
it's a tough question,
man,
because Mitchell's younger, so obviously you're gonna get much, gonna get way more years. But I mean, Brad Beal has been better for longer, and aside from this year, he's actually been able to stay. Like I think at the beginning of his career, he couldn't stay healthy, but aside from this past year, he's been pretty good health wise. Yeah. And in terms of pure scoring, I think Brad Beal's probably better than Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, that's the thing. So it's like I think it would just have to depend. It's like because factoring all those variables, it's like if I'm hedging and I want to score but maybe build for the future, then like you said, I mean, like I think Mitchell makes sense, right? And then, but if you're like, let's just win now, this is our window, and we just need buckets, I actually would lean towards Beal, and I think I would just. Because like just watching both of them, like what I know about Beal is he doesn't give a shit. He was like, you want me to shoot 35 times tonight? Okay. He's like, I might go 5 for 35, but I'll shoot 35 times and
he's more than
I
happy
won't
to
stop. Yeah. And I think because of that just that shooter's mentality, like, sure, you want me to get buckets, I'll get you buckets. And he's not going to shy away and he'll shoot whatever you want. if I'm going for like the win now, and like you're saying, like if their window is tiny and it's like let's just win, like I think I'd gamble on Beal actually, even though
Yeah.
I know that would bite me later. I think that'll bite me later. Where Donovan, I think he's shown more of that willingness to be like, I am the leader. I will, all the. I mean, you can criticize how good of a leader, but I mean, and you could build off him just because of his. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd probably go Beal if it's like a win now mentality.
Yeah, it's tough because I agree with everything you said about Beal. And then, but the other side of it, the argument for Mitchell is like, you're good now.
Yeah.
And then, when Butler gets too old, then, okay, we build around Donovan Mitchell and we build around Bam because Bam's obviously young too. So
there you go. Exactly. That's the trade-off. That's the trade-off, right?
So I think if I had to choose one, I think I would actually probably go Mitchell. But it's tough. I mean, it's tough. And I mean, these are like, good problems to have if the Heat are choosing between one of these two, but
yeah, and that's the thing. I think like beyond like a 2-3 year window, the ratio is so flopped. Like Donovan has like the way better upside.
Oh yeah.
I mean, in terms, like you said, building a team, like it's future oriented. Like you didn't screw yourself where we shot our shot and then now we're done. Like it's like
yeah. And I also feel like we're probably underrating like just the factor of Donovan Mitchell getting out of Utah, just the happiness of him
well, that's true too.
Like not playing with Rudy Gobert, like just starting over new. Like I think he would fit great with the Heat.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can. Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong. But I think, yeah, you're right. I think if you're going to invest heavily for like hey, we want to sign some long-term deal, you got to go Mitchell. If it's like, we'll pay you a bunch and we just need you to score now, then that's the one scenario where I'd say Beal is probably a decent option, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But I think that you're right. Back to your original state. I think they have to. I think it's a must. If they don't, you might as well say they're not going to win it next year, in my opinion. Like
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. You have to do something. I mean, maybe there's nothing to do, and then you're kind of just wasting. It feels like you're just wasting a year.
Yeah. So here's mine. It's kind of a similar theme to yours. So here's my take. So this is about the Memphis Grizzlies.
Okay.
If the Memphis Grizzlies do not get a pure scorer, someone who's just going to get you buckets, a la Bradley Beal, like I mentioned. I'll drop a few other Beal, Zach LaVine, someone who's like, I'm going to get you 20 something a night consistently, and you can rely on me. That's my role, so that it's not just all about Ja sacrificing his body to get to the line for free throws, relying on, I don't know, a Dylan Brooks or a Kyle Anderson or a Tyus Jones to step up randomly to have sporadic good nights. Like unless you get a legit scoring 1/1A scorer, Grizzlies aren't going to go anywhere next year. You're just going to see a rinse and repeat of what happened this year. Because here's my take. They're an exciting team. I like watching them. But I think when we get caught up in the youngness and how exciting they are, Ja's on the rise. He's going to be a superstar. He is a star. But then when you really take a step back and you look at these pieces, like, are you truly like excited? And you're like, man, Tyus Jones, he's that guy. Kyle Anderson, he's that guy. Dylan Brooks, he's that guy. He's that Scottie Pippen, right? He's that, whatever, Kyrie to the KD. Like, come on, man. No, they're not, right? I mean, like, if you really objectively look at it, they are nice. They're a good unit. They're a good team. They're a solid culture. But that's what's missing, in my opinion. It's like you don't have that, like you said, the running mate for Ja. You don't have that consistent score. So Tyus Jones, Kyle Anderson, are they going to resign? Are they going to let them go? I think the Dylan Brooks experiment should be done at this point. You already kind of know what's going to happen in the postseason after multiple postseasons of watching that. Can Zaire Williams, can he take a step forward? What's Jaren Jackson going to step up and do? So these are all just like big question marks. So I feel like regardless of who stays and who goes, you don't get a legit scorer. You're talking Miami, basically. This is the Miami of the West now. That's what you're going to get, is you're going to get a rinse and repeat, and they're going to hit a ceiling, and they're going to struggle to keep up with the Golden State Warriors of the world or the Clippers, let's say, and you're going to have a scoring problem, in my opinion.
Yeah. So to confirm that, the take is basically if the Grizzlies don't make a move, then they're not going to do anything next year.
They're not going to be a real contender for that. I mean, they might make a run, a moderate run in the playoffs but I don't see them being a true contender for the championship.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with you there. I think it's really easy to fall in love with like the young team, like just because they're like we again, people say this all the time, but like progress isn't linear. It's not like they're like, oh, they got 1% better this year, so they're going to get 1% better next year. Like he might go from like 1% better to like 7% better, but then maybe like he's not going to keep getting 7. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think it's easy to just say we're young, let's not do anything. I think it all depends on the move, because like you're not going to want to give up anything. Like you're not going to want to risk too much of your future to get a scoring, like some sort of score now, depending on who it is. I mean, if they could sign Zach LaVine, that would be amazing. I've heard that he's going to re-sign with the Bulls. Sources are saying that he's just going to take the max with the Bulls, and you can't really blame him for that.
No, I can't blame him for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think he would be perfect. Getting him there. And I think, yeah, I mean, I don't see the Grizzlies doing anything huge. I think it's too easy to fall in love and just with the young team and just be content. Like, hey, we were the 2nd seed this year. Like, no one expected us to be this good. Ja got hurt in the playoffs. Like, we almost won game 1. We did win game 2. I think they can convince themselves that they can make a run. And I think it takes a couple playoff failures in a row just for it to start getting stale. Like, for the Sixers, and that's the best comparison to have of like a young, exciting team that everybody thought this guy was the future, or the ceiling is the roof. I think eventually it just gets stale, and the Sixers obviously made the Jimmy Butler move, and then they made a ton of terrible moves since. But it all started when they were like a young squad, when Embiid was a second year and Simmons was a rookie.
Sure.
So I think it'll probably take one, if not one more, playoff failure for the Grizzlies to really think about making a move. The only thing I'm worried about is just like, I don't know the cap situation, so I don't know how they're going to be able to keep everybody together. That's the only thing. So like maybe they're forced to make a move, this trade 3 for 1, because they're just going to need to. That I don't know.
I mean, from what I mean, just from generally speaking, I don't know if they're going to be able to, if they're going to truly like add someone. I don't know if they can keep, at least one, if not even both, of like Tyus or Kyle Anderson, who are going to be looking for some money. So, I think
like that, I like you can lose those two. Like that's not going to do it. That's going to do literally nothing.
So in your mind, so let me ask you this then: who besides obviously Ja, right? I mean, who's if you had to pick one other untouchable? Like I wouldn't move him. For your typical trade, not some absurd fake scenario.
Right, of
like,
course,
Who's the other untouchable? Is it Desmond Bane? Is it
It's either Desmond Bane or Jaren Jackson Jr.
Okay, so between those two, who would you pick? It's like, this is the piece. It's going to be Ja and him. Like, this is the Batman and Robin. I'm not going to move this guy regardless. Would it be Bane or would it be?
That's tough. That's a good question.
Triple
I
J.
feel like the theoretical version of Jaren Jackson Jr. is like the correct answer. Like, the theoretical version of
the theoretical upside of
the guy who he shot like 39% from 3 2 years, like the bubble year. He was incredible from deep, and like he's a good defender who can't stay on the court because he fouls. So like, how good of a defender is he really?
Sure.
But Desmond Bane, I mean, I don't know. He's gotten so much better from year 1 to year 2. He's one of those people that like progress isn't linear. He could get even better. So I'd probably say Desmond Bane, but that's really tough. I mean, if you ask me tomorrow, I might have a different answer. But
I agree. I mean, it's a tough call because, like, man, it sucked with that back injury, man. If it wasn't for that series would have been even crazier, man.
He was amazing in the playoffs. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And like, he came into the league as just a shooter, and then like a year and a half into it, it's like, oh wow, this guy can do way more than shoot. He's like not just a pure. He can shoot, but he can do way more.
Sure. Cool. Okay. So it sounds like we feel the same way, that the Heat and the Grizz are in similar scenarios. They need some scoring help, it sounds like. So
yeah, as a team, like if we're just looking at next year, yes, obviously the future is much brighter for the Grizzlies just because of the age.
Sure.
But for next year. So my next one, I don't know how much of a hot take this is or not, but I think DeAndre Ayton does get traded. I feel like I don't think he's fantastic, but it just seems like the Suns hate him. They like have like at the beginning of the year, they didn't re-sign him. And it feels like every chance they get, they're like putting out reports about how they're unhappy with him.
Sure.
So I don't know what they do to replace him, but I feel like he's pretty vital to their team, but I feel like they just hate him. I feel like they don't want to pay him. He's going to get the max. They don't want to pay him the max. So I think it's a sign and trade, I think is what happens. And the teams that I've heard the Hawks, because they've needed a center. I guess they got Clint Capella, so maybe that's a deal. But they need like something something else. The Hornets have been trying to get a center forever. I recently saw him linked to the Pistons, which people are saying that's why they traded Jeremy Grant, was to clear up salary for.
Yeah,
I don't really.
I heard that too. Yeah,
I don't really know what that gets you. Like, I don't see the point in that. And then the funniest one is the Jazz for Rudy Gobert.
Okay, that
that was I saw floated on Twitter by none other than Bill Simmons.
Interesting. No, I mean, to your comment, yeah, no, I mean, it is a weird dynamic they have there. I mean, look, okay, thinking from Ayton's perspective, I don't blame him. I want to get paid, right?
Like, I want the max. Yeah.
I want the max. And either look, I mean, would I as a GM give someone like DeAndre Ayton the max and tie up my funds for my team? No, I really wouldn't. I don't see him as like the core piece that's going to take me to, like, you know, the next level. I don't know if I'd personally do it, but can I see someone doing that? Sure. I mean, because look, he's a good player. And honestly, I don't think we've seen like peak performance, right? Because it's just, there's only so many touches you can get, you know, on that Suns roster, meaning Chris Paul will grind the ball into the ground until there's like 8 seconds left on the shot clock. And then obviously choice A is Devin Booker, right? I mean, so he gets all the scraps. So, you know, I don't think we've seen, you know, peak performance Ayton. So is he capable of more? Sure. I definitely think he's capable of more. But then the flip side is, do you want him as a 1A? Like, do you want him to be like the star of your team? Like, and I know, like, even if, let's say, the Pistons scenario played out, like, I know it's not just him, like, you'd have your other young pieces and Cade and all, you know, whatever. But
yeah,
I don't know. Is that adding him? Is that the solution? I'm not sure. But yeah, but back to your scenario. Yeah, I think his discontentment, him wanting to play a bigger role on offense, wanting more touches, just how they've, like you said, how they've approached him and their dynamic. I could see it happening. I can see that happening. I'd just be curious who's going to want to tie up their money with that. That's my.
Yeah, it's going to be a young team that hasn't, like the Hornets that haven't done anything in forever. The Pistons haven't done anything in forever. It's going to have to be. It's going to have to be one of those teams that, like.
No, you're right.
They know that it's probably a bad contract,
but you got young guys on guaranteed young contract. Exactly. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's one that they have to do. Yeah, I mean, Ayton, I kind of put in Jaren Jackson Jr. camp where, like, you want more from him. Like, you watch him play, like, he feels like he doesn't go up strong to the rim. He fades away too much. He doesn't have great touch around the rim, and he's not nearly as bad at fouling as a fouler as Junior.
Yeah, but, no, not even close.
Yeah, but he's not quite. I mean, like, Jaren Jackson Jr. is a better defender. Ayton just doesn't foul as much. Like, I feel like Ayton isn't that great of a defender. So I also wonder. I mean, Chris Paul is like the king of making centers look good. I guess Trae Young he could do that. I also Cade and LaMelo Ball and the Hornets are also obviously not Chris Paul's level, but
sure,
lob, you know, pick and roll lob throwers. So I guess any of those three teams would probably be fine. But yeah, I just think regardless, like, based on all the information that's come out from the Suns, I can't see a scenario in which they keep him, because it just seems like they don't want him. I kind of think that's a bad move, because, like, I mean, they're just in the finals last year. They were the 1 seed this past year. I feel like they probably have another limited window, at least with Chris Paul. And then when he goes, you can retool around Booker, Bridges, and Ayton. But it doesn't seem like that's how it's going to go.
Yeah, no, I agree with that comment too. I think if you can find a happy medium and keep him there, keep him content, and just do one more run at it, retool slightly and make a few tweaks, like, I think that's the way to go if you're the Suns. I mean, you were so damn close. Like, it just, like, whatever it is, mental fart or whatever happened at the end there. But I mean, you were clearly one of the favorites going into the postseason, even in the first half of the postseason, like in the playoffs. Like,
yeah,
you're so close. You're on the precipice.
They were the betting favorite.
Let's see. We got a commenter here. Rumor has it that Kyrie will be going to the Clippers.
Huh? Oh, I need to check. I meant to be checking Twitter during this to make sure that nothing spicy pops off.
Yeah, that would be crazy if that happened. That would be crazy. So, All right. So my third topic is not one topic. What I'm going to do, I got, let's see, one, two, I got 5 statements for you. And we're just going to spend literally 30 seconds, your initial gut reaction to each of these comments. And we're just going to do a lightning round for my third segment here. And I'm going to just give you a few comments and then you just give me your reaction. Okay.
Okay.
So number one, first one out of the 5, assuming that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are going to be healthy and just ready to go. The core of Kawhi, PG, Norm Powell, Covington, Zubac, Reggie, Kennard, this should make them the clear favorite to win the championship next year.
No, I still think even with all that.
Oh, no. Okay.
I still think the Warriors are going to be the favorite. They should be the favorite. There's no injury concerns. There's no continuity concerns. They have the winning pedigree. Clay is going to be another year healthy. Jordan Poole is getting another year better. Presumably, Kuminga and Moses Moody will get better in their second year. So I do think the Clippers, I love them as a value because they're not the betting favorite. But no, I still don't think they should be the clear favorite.
So we'll jump to, this was actually one of the later ones. You already kind of answered it. So Clay getting more health under his belt, getting even healthier than he is this year. The young guys on the Warriors, hopefully taking a step forward. I don't even know exactly what the status is of Wiseman at this point, but
he's toast.
Whatever. But with Clay being even healthier, hopefully with another offseason to make further progression, the young guys taking a step forward, Jordan Poole maybe taking it to another level, this should make the Warriors be considered the clear-cut favorite. So you feel, and you already answered it.
Yeah,
so you feel that
I think they should.
They should be. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. I actually did a video on this on the OddsJam YouTube channel talking about early bets for like futures for next year. And I feel like it kind of went under discussed that Steph missed like the last, month of the regular season. I think like the last 3 weeks or a month. He the first 2 playoff games, he came off the bench because that was his first 2 games returning from the foot injury. So there was legitimate concern about how Steph would look just from a health perspective, returning from that foot injury. And then also the big 3 of Clay, Draymond, and Clay, Steph, Draymond, and Clay, they barely played together in the regular season. Like when Clay came back, Draymond was hurt. And then when Draymond came back, Steph got hurt, I think either that game or like 1 game after. And granted, that team those 3 had played together forever. But It's still hard. You can't replicate that. It's still hard to replicate NBA speed, NBA basketball. So yeah, I think the Warriors, they're going to have a harder path without a doubt. They got lucky that the Suns got that just totally wet their pants. The Clippers are going to be better. The Nuggets presumably will be better depending on Jamal Murray's health. And then you still have the Suns probably. The Grizzlies are probably getting better. Either way. Even with their harder path, they should be the favorite.
Okay. Gotcha. Next one, number 3 out of the 5. If you were a GM of any team, out of these 3 players, who would you least want? So you got to pick one. Who would you least want on your roster next season? This is fun. Kyrie Irving, James Harden, John Wall.
Oh, John Wall. It's John Wall. I saw a stat. Let me see if I can pull it up.
I was trying to bait you into debating on Harden.
between Kyrie and Harden is tough, but
that's a tough one. Okay. Okay.
I gotta find this. Someone sent me a picture. It was like how often, I can't find it, but it was like John Wall games played, money made the past 4 years. Like he didn't play this year. He didn't play the 3 and 4 years ago, and he played 40 games last year, and he's on the worst contract in the league. I think between Kyrie and Harden, I think is legitimate tough question.
So let's do that. So let's take out John Wall. So if you had to pick between the 2, who would you not want between Kyrie, or who would you pick, Kyrie or Harden? Because you're right, it's tough, right? There's very different positives and minuses, right?
If Kyrie Irving wasn't a nut, I would want it wouldn't even just from a basketball perspective, it wouldn't even be close.
But he is, right? That's the problem.
He is a nut. Yeah, he is a nut. I think I'd probably still rather have Kyrie Irving. If I could trade James Harden for Kyrie Irving straight up, I'd probably do it.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Number 4. Okay. This is return to the NBA question. So after such a prolonged absence due to injury, who do you think is going to just not look like themselves, and who is going to struggle the most kind of getting reacclimated to getting back to basketball shape and looking like their former self? Kawhi Leonard, Zion Williamson, Jamal Murray.
I'm probably gonna go with Jamal Murray because his injury was the worst of all of them. I also feel like
you're right.
I also feel like being the point guard, you have so much more on your plate just from a responsibility perspective. So, and we've seen Kawhi miss an entire year, come back and be the best player in the NBA.
Sure. Yeah, we
Zion,
have actually. So,
yeah, Zion is a little concerning because we've just seen so much questions about his weight.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming Zion's going to come back, and I think he's going to be fine. Even if overweight, he had a bender of a weekend. Zion is still the most athletic, like one of the most athletic players in the NBA. And I think Jamal Murray's going to have more responsibility on him. He had been out technically. He would have been out the longest of all of them, I believe, because he got hurt prior to the playoffs. And I think Zion ended the year healthy last year, to my memory.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So I'd probably say Jamal Murray, but I hope he comes back great because Jamal Murray. Again, I've said this multiple times on the podcast now, but I think if he hadn't gotten hurt, I think the Nuggets win the title last year if Jamal Murray doesn't get hurt.
No, I mean it's just such a different team, and they're fun to watch. So yeah, I hope he comes back full force, full strength, gets ready for the postseason. Zion, hopefully him and Luka could get a group discount, hit the gym together, get in good shape, and prepare. Yeah. Supposedly Luka's already even at the gym going crazy. I mean, I don't know if these are true or not, but we'll see. Let's see if Luka can take his game to the next level by getting into shape this offseason. So
yeah, we'll see.
We'll see how it goes. All right, last one before we switch it back to you for your final topic. So 5th one. So the Trailblazers obviously in blow up mode, right? They rebuild. So Blazers have picked up Jeremy Grant. Supposedly, let's say the rumors play out, and if they can somehow land OG and Anunoby, if they make a few more moves for key role players, having Jeremy Grant, Dame time, OG, Nurkic, is that enough of a core? Not to win the championship, because I'm not even going to go there. Is that enough of a core to make them legit contenders to make a run in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I mean, they went to 2 conference finals with CJ McCollum, with Nurkic, CJ McCollum, and obviously Dame. I think again, similar concerns with Dame that you have with Harden and Beal, that he also looked like a shell of himself last year.
Yeah, he kind of did. Yeah,
he also was clearly hurt all year. He had that. Eventually, he had the abdomen surgery and was just done for the year. And he of all the 3, you could tell the most that he was clearly injured. With Harden and Beal, it almost looked like effort more than it looked like injury.
I'd agree with that too. Yeah. I mean, he looked legit hampered and limited.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, and then I love Anunoby. I think he's awesome. I think he's going to be incredible. Someone that came into the NBA with no dribble drive, with no dribble game, no off the bounce game, has really tightened up his handle and has become a legitimate scorer, off the bounce without any help. Jeremy Grant, I think he's kind of weird because he was really good in that role with the Nuggets.
Yeah.
And he was really good the first half of last year with the Pistons when he was the number 1 option. But it feels like he wants to be the number 1 option, but that's not what's best fits his role. What best fits his role is 3 and D, and play off some off the catch, be really athletic. So I think there might be an issue just with roles on the team because he'd probably be their 3rd option on offense behind obviously Dame and Anunoby. But assuming that he does play his role, I think there's no reason why they couldn't. I guess assuming coaching, we don't know what Chauncey Billups is going to be like as a coach.
Sure.
But with that roster, and I like Anthony Simons. I like they have the dude from Villanova. I can't Josh Hart, who came over from the Pelicans. Hart, yep. I think they have a fine team. I think they could probably be a 6th seed and win a round. I think that's completely reasonable.
Okay. Cool. All right. What's your last topic? What do you got for me before we roll into our bets?
So my last one is the spiciest, but I just feel like this is what's going to end up happening. Kyrie Irving is going to the Lakers.
Oh God. Kyrie going to the Lakers?
I mean, Isn't that just
Oh,
like? Can't you just imagine that scenario? Kyrie going back
oh
to
my
LeBron, going to the
God.
Lakers. Russ for Kyrie. You reunite Russ and KD. I mean, come on. The NBA is a soap opera. It's a reality TV
Oh
show.
my
I feel
gosh.
like I feel like
Kyrie
we all know this. That's where this is going.
That is I don't even know. I mean, maybe I've just been so busy with work, but I don't know why I haven't really ever given that any thought. But Kyrie to the Lakers. Oh my God. God, I hate it and love it at the same time. It's like it's so corny and cheesy, but God, I feel like LeBron is so corny and cheesy too that
He sure is.
he that's up his alley. That's a
I
power.
mean,
Obviously, this would be dictated by him orchestrating all this.
yeah, and like he loves nothing more than like, he left me and then he realized that grass isn't always greener, so he wanted to come back. Like they're gonna absolutely eat that up.
Yeah, God, yeah. I hate it, but I love it. I would love the chaos and the drama. Like they would be a must watch all season, whether
Oh
it's
yeah,
whether it's a train wreck or actually good. But like they would be like, it was this year was a train wreck. Like watching the whole Russell Westbrook experiment with the Lakers, and it was a disaster. But
it was. I mean, who could have called that?
yeah, God, yeah, no, I'd actually like to see that happen now. Now, I actually would
Me
like to
too.
see this happen.
I would love to
So,
see it happen.
I like you said, half the fun of the NBA is the drama. It is like it's the men's soap opera. I don't care.
It really
However,
is.
like,
It really
it
is.
really is. And there's so much because look in football, I love football. Football's excited. They got it right. They knew how to make it so exciting, so limited of a season. You're dying for every game. So they got so many things right. But what the NBA has right
It's
is
reality TV.
it's reality TV. It's all the characters, the backstories, the drama, the backside, the fights,
Yeah.
all the beef. Like this would just add more to the soap opera. So
Yeah.
I'd love it. I love it. Let's do it. I hope they pull it off.
I wish I could bet on it. I would love to see what the odds are.
Let's do it. I like it. Why did I think of that? But yeah, that's a good one. I like it. Let's hope it happens, Matt. So
Let's hope.
okay.
Awesome.
All right, guys. So thanks guys for bearing with us through our hypothetical. So let's move on to our typical best bets. So even though the NBA season has stopped, our betting does not, because gambling doesn't go to sleep, guys. You can bet at any hour of the day. You can bet on Korean baseball. You can bet on ping pong or table tennis. Sorry, ping pong players. You can bet on anything, guys. So we'll kick it off with our best bets, even though NBA is done with. So I got a couple. So I'll kick off with a tennis play because I do follow women's tennis. I will say tread with caution here, guys, because the tournaments that are going on both for men's and women's right now, you have to understand these are like the lead up tournaments, okay, to Wimbledon. So anytime they're like the ones right before the Grand Slams, you have to be wary that stars may just pack it in. If they're down a set, they're like, this isn't worth the effort. And I'm just going to say, screw it. I just use this as a tune-up or a warm-up for Wimbledon or whatever Grand Slam they're going to play at. So this is for the women's tennis WTA Eastbourne at the Eastbourne tournament. Okay. This is Beatriz Haddad Maia versus Petra Kvitova. I am going to roll with Haddad Maia at, you can get it right now around -110, -112. Right. I caught it a little late, -112 on FanDuel. This is a pick'em. If you had to ask me who's more skilled and more experienced, it's Petra. So why would I be going against her, even though Haddad Maia is not at plus odds? Haddad Maia has been on fire. She's won the last couple tournaments leading up to this on grass, for these grass tournaments leading up to this match. And again, skill for skill, I'd roll with Petra. But recent form, Haddad Maia. I also would think Petra, knowing she's not here to win some middling tournament at WTA Eastbourne, she could really care less at the end of the day. She sees this as, I'm going to warm up and get ready and get into shape and into form for Wimbledon. So I can see this going two ways. So I would only go a half unit on this, guys, because I do think Petra is the more skilled player. If Petra goes up set one, that might be end of story, and she might take this match. If she goes down one set, I can see her saying, all right, let's just use this as a warm up to just get fine tune a few things, and I'm just going to mentally pack it in. And if it's a close match, she may not push beyond the initial resistance. So the recent form of Haddad Maya, she's playing well. She's won the last couple middling tournaments. This is another middling tournament to her. She wants to win this because she wants a trophy and another thing under her credentials. I won a freaking tournament, increased my rankings. Petra doesn't care if she wins this or not. She's like, I want to prep for Wimbledon. So for those are the various reasons why I would say I'm going to roll with her in what's right now considered a pick 'em match by the odds makers. So I'm going to roll with Haddad Maya money line -112.
I like it. I might tell you on that. I don't dabble in much tennis, but I like it. So I have 2 NBA draft ones. My rule for betting on the draft is because it's just madness. I only take stuff that's plus money.
Sure.
So my first one, and this is my favorite, my absolute favorite bet.
Okay.
It's predicting the top 5 exactly.
Oh, so okay. I'm going to do this as you're talking.
So the first 3 is pretty easy. Like I would be shocked if the first 3 doesn't go Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero. I would be shocked if it doesn't go in that order. The real question is what's going to happen at pick number 4.
Yeah, that relates to mine. Yeah, I'm curious too.
So I think the Kings, being as dumb as they are, and they're always dumb, I think they're so the 4th best player is Jaden Ivey.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I think that he doesn't. So Ivy doesn't want to go to the Kings. So I think they're going to say, well, guess what? We don't want you. The same thing they did to Luka, who didn't want to go to the Kings. So they said, screw you. We're going to take Marvin Bagley. I think that they're going to take Keegan Murray, number 4.
Okay.
So, and then Ivy will go. I think Ivy will go 5 to the Pistons. So you can get that at plus 250.
Which book is this?
This is FanDuel.
FanDuel. Okay.
Or if you don't want to risk like some madness happening in the top 3, you could also just take Keegan Murray to be the 4th overall pick at plus 200. So you sacrifice the 50 cents from plus 250 to plus 200, but you eliminate risk. So those are 2 options. 2 options there.
Okay. So you're saying Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero, and then you're saying Keegan Murray, and who are you saying 5? You're saying 5 is
Jaden Ivey.
Jaden Ivey at 5. Okay, gotcha.
Plus 250.
Gotcha. Okay. No, you're right though, right? Top 3 are locked in, so it's really a plus 250 gamble on 2 picks, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then my last one is Ochai Agbaji from Kansas. I think he's going to end up being a top 10 draft pick, plus 230 odds.
Oh, okay.
My logic there, he's probably not worth being a top 10 pick, but he was the best player on a national championship team. Someone's going to overrate that. He improved every year at Kansas, became a legitimately good shooter. He can play defense. He's like a prototypical 3-and-D guy. And I just think that someone is going to overdraft him because of his pedigree. I think that's so. And plus 230 odds, I thought that was pretty juicy.
Okay. Got it.
Those are my 2 NBA draft bets.
Okay, so I got 1 for the NBA draft, and I'm going to preface this by saying this is total a dart. So you want to bet like minuscule, whatever you consider is my throwaway lunch money type of bet, okay? So this relates back to what Matt was saying, and I'll be quick because the draft's about to start. So 4th pick, I'm betting that, and this is not me. I just was in a group chat. I heard the rationale. I heard the rumor mill stuff. I like it. Jeremy Sohan to be picked 4th at plus 6,000. Okay.
Wow.
He's one of the few guys that apparently the Kings worked out. Okay. And he's wearing a purple suit right now. So
I mean, I like it.
That's it. That's literally it. I have nothing else. There's no other basis. Literally, that's it. It's a rumor bet. The problem is a lot of people are saying, like you said, the Kings are just going to take some, they're going to pass on Ivy. They'll take like Keegan. I think the Keegan role, the pick is good. Or the other talk is they're going to trade down because they're like, we could care less who we even get. Like we got, and they may trade down for something for like a veteran player or whatever. So apparently that's a lot. That's the other flip side is that they're willing to trade down. So those are the risks is that he's a long shot. But why would I even try it? Like people have sent me all this posts, these info. They're like, look, he's one of the few guys they worked out. He was very positive about them on social media, but who isn't? You're just saying the right thing. So this is total crap. Okay. I'm just telling you, this is total crap, but he's wearing a purple suit. There are a few other guys wearing purple suits. You cannot
argue with that logic.
But he's wearing a totally purple suit from top to bottom. So I don't know. I've bet on worse things. So I'll take a stab and throw like 20, 30 bucks on plus 6,000.
I mean, plus 6,000 odds. Yeah, we've done worse.
So I'm telling you guys, this is stupid, and I'm betting on stupidity. So that's it. I'm telling you, I'm not ashamed to admit it, because I'm sure you guys have done stupid things out there, and that's my stupid long shot.
I like it. I'll do real quick. My favorite WNBA bet, Sparks Sky. I got the over at 169.5. I've had a lot of luck with the WNBA. I don't know what the total sits at now, but I like that game to go over. I'll end it there.
Gotcha. All right, guys. Thanks for joining in. As you can see, we're keeping the show rolling, even though NBA is done. So we'll keep talking, NBA offseason trades when some of these draft picks happen. We'll maybe talk about how these draft picks are going to impact the teams. Talk about trades that happen, NFL offseason talks as we're ramping up for the NFL season, and we'll keep throwing out our bets, guys. Smart ones, smart positive EV ones, and some of your degenerate ones, like I just mentioned. So. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Again, check out oddsjam.com. Check out our sponsor. Follow us here. Follow us on all the popular podcast mediums where you could subscribe: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. We're everywhere, guys. So follow us. Test out oddsjam.com software, and we'll catch you guys next week.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.